everyone, and welcome to our virtual summit. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Sari Hegewald, and I am the Marketing Operations Manager with eDynamic Learning. I'm proud to kick off our workshop today, Internship Virtual Lunch and Learns. And I'd first like to kick it off by giving a little background on our presenters. Our first presenter today is Nancy Ortner. She is the Career Technical Education TOSA for Visions in Education Charter School. She's responsible for supporting the implementation of the California CTE standards and pathways and coordinating career development opportunities in support of students' educational, occupational, and personal growth. Nancy created and manages the high school's internship program, including the 21st Century Employability course that she articulated with Folsom Lake College. As a teacher for over 40 years, she's passionate about ensuring that students graduate with a strong academic foundation, as well as rigorous and relevant employability and 21st century skills needed for transitioning to secondary education and career opportunities. She is skilled in the design and implementation of challenging and innovative online curriculum that addresses the diverse talents and needs of all students. Nancy was selected for the California Department of Education's 2019-2020 CTE Leadership Development Institute. Our second presenter is Shannon Allward, who has been working in K-12 education for the past 12 years. For the last 8 years, she has been a principal at Visions in Education Independent Study Academy. Shannon is passionate in helping students and teachers to succeed in any endeavor. She is skilled in unlocking the potential of others by recognizing, developing, and growing her students' and teachers' talents and passions. Many of you provided questions when you registered for this workshop, so after their presentation, we'll provide several questions for the ladies to answer. With so many of you on the virtual call today, you will remain in mute, but feel free to ask any additional questions in the chat panel or question panel on the GoToWebinar window, and we'll do our best to get your questions answered. If we don't have time to address them all, we'll be sure to follow up and provide you with the answers. Ladies, go ahead and take it away.
Thank you so much, Sari. That was a wonderful opening. My name is Shannon Allward. I am the Independent Study Principal at Visions in Education. I want to thank you for joining us today for our Introduction to Virtual Internships Lunch and Learns. Nancy Ortner has gone way beyond just what she does, and I'm very proud to work with her. On to the next slide. So we have 3 outcomes for you today. We would like to learn how students, interns from different internship sites and geographical locations present their final projects in an informative and interactive virtual lunch and learn, gain ideas for how to set up a virtual lunch and learn, and leave with some resources for planning a virtual lunch and learn. On to the next slide. Vision's statement is preparing each student to succeed in a rapidly changing world. We created this statement for over about 13 years ago, and we developed it to support students for a new and upcoming learning and careers. We want our students to be problem solvers by being critical thinking. Our school goal is to help those students go beyond just high school. On to the next slide. Visions in Education lies in California. We are 9 counties. We are one of the largest charter schools. We've been in existence for 20 years. We started off with about 167, and we will currently be serving over 7,400 students coming up in the next year. We have about 400 employees, and we have 3 distinctive academies. First, we have homeschool, and that serves TK to 12th grade. We have independent study, which serves 9th through 12th grade. And we have university prep, which serves 9th through 12th grade. We, in the independent study and university prep, we fully have digital curriculum. And we are not an online school. We meet our students face-to-face and support them through various field trips, activities, events, any way we could get them out and moving about. Now here's Nancy Ortnew, who will present the Lunch and Learn. Thank you.
Thank you, Shannon, and good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to start today by explaining a little bit about our work-based learning program. Students enroll in a 10-credit course and earn 5 credits for passing the online curriculum and another 5 credits for completing a semester-long internship. The course teaches students about the top 10 21st century employability skills that are listed in the slide, and then students observe and practice these skills in the workplace. Students also earn a digital badge in each one of these skills to place on their resume or LinkedIn page. In order to teach this course, work-based learning teachers must attend a 2-day training event to become certified to use the curriculum. And the curriculum was developed by New World of Work for the California community colleges. There's probably about 80 different colleges that use this curriculum. If you want more information about New World of Work or the top 10 21st century skills, I've included a link to their website on the resource slide at the end of the presentation. At the beginning of the year, things were just going great. We had 40 interns at 7 different businesses in Sacramento and in the Bay Area. Then, after everything was shut down, we were left with 6 students and only 2 businesses that continued to support and work with students through Zoom conferencing. So here was our challenge. We could no longer have students work together at each internship site to create a group project. And students didn't have a way to present their final projects, which is a course requirement and also a California Common Core standard. So I had to practice my own adaptability and resilience skills and make some changes. The solution was to change the group projects to individual projects and to create a virtual lunch and learn so students could present their final projects and interact with other interns, students that they had never met. As you can see, the key to any successful endeavor or project is in the planning. So I started by researching how the business world uses and plans lunch and learns, because after all, that's what we're doing. We're preparing our students to eventually enter the workforce. Then I ran my ideas by the other work-based learning teachers who were very excited and wanted to participate. So we formed a team, and we called our team the Lunch and Learn Collaborative. The most important part of the team was all of the collaboration and ideas and thoughts we shared with each other. We also made all of our decisions as a team. The most important tip I want to share with you is the importance of a running agenda. It became our official document. It kept us focused. It contained all of the links to assignments and rubrics and other documents, and it also gave us a place to add questions and comments for future discussion. The next tip I have is to have weekly meetings. We met for about 8 weeks to divide the tasks to create rubrics and assignments and develop roles and norms. We also created a marketing flyer and invitations that we sent Google Calendar invitations by email. The next thing we did was research the roles and tailor them to fit our needs. So we came up with a leader, a facilitator, and a timekeeper. Now, for the sake of time, I won't read to you all of the responsibilities for each role, but I have attached the document in the resource slide. And this is a copy of the flyer that we attached to the Google invites. And if you notice, it contains a description of the event, the purpose, the educational objectives, and the participants. So everybody knew why we were holding this lunch and learn. We also developed an agenda, and the most important part of the agenda was that it made sure that we started and stopped on time. So after we got together and as a team, we planned our lunch and learn, we had to then prepare the students. During the same time, we were meeting weekly with students using Zoom to check to see how they were doing, if they had any questions, or if they had any needs that we could help them with. It also gave us time to practice using Zoom with students. During these meetings, we went over the assignments to make sure that students were clear, and also we went over the expectations and norms for our lunch and learn. So this, whoops, I think I skipped it there. So this slide shows student expectations during and after their presentations. These are the requirements. And if you notice that each student was required to provide one positive comment and one follow-up question to each presenter. We also developed the meeting norms, which were the social expectations for students participating in the lunch and learn. Well, some other tips that I wanted to share with you are to practice sharing your screen in Zoom, use a headset, and be aware of your background. And actually, I practiced all of these things this morning. I called up a colleague and asked her if my headset was working, if she could hear me, what was she seeing in the background. So thanks, Kim. Also, give your students a template for the slideshow. This was really important because it made it easier for the students. They knew what to place on each slide, and it also made it easier for us to plan the timing. Have the students email their slideshows before the presentation, so that way you can load their presentations and they don't have to worry about sharing their screen. You've got it all there for them. Create a rubric for your students, which is very important, so they know how they're going to be graded during the lunch and learn, and go over it with them so that if they do have any questions, you can answer their questions before it starts. Also, it's important to review and know your own school or district guidelines for virtual meetings with our students. And Visions has a very clear policy for virtual meetings with students. So make sure you know what yours are. The other tip I have is to know your audience. When I was talking with students, most of them didn't feel comfortable using the cameras. So we made our Lunch and Learn camera free, so to speak, so students didn't have to worry about that. Also, if you're going to record your Lunch and Learn, make sure that you notify all participants and make sure that they're okay with it. So here are the resources that I talked about. And looking at the time. And so I wanted to leave plenty of time so that you can ask questions about anything with the Lunch and Learn, and hopefully it'll give you some ideas so you'll try one with your own students. It's really a fun, interactive way to connect students, teachers, and any other guests you want to invite. So now I'm turning it back to Shannon.
Thank you, Nancy. That was really well done. Can you go to the next slide on questions? Does anyone have questions on how Nancy did this, or how is it working?
Shannon, I do have a couple of questions that have come through.
Okay.
I know that you had mentioned that there was that you use Zoom, but is there any hardware that's been proven to be most reliable when planning a virtual lunch and learn? And I think maybe that's also software. So are there other programs that you guys have used or heard used in your opinion that is reliable?
We have used Zoom and Google Hangouts. Google Hangouts is really improving. So I go back and forth between Zoom and Google Hangouts. I haven't really gone through any other meetings. I do notice with Google, if you have too many people on and their screens on where you can see them, and the internet sometimes botches up, so everybody turns off their cameras, and it seems to run much smoother for us. This was the first time I have ever used this is my second time using GoToMeeting. So this platform seems a little bit, I would say, a little bit more organized. I do like Zoom because of the whiteboards. The polling, they have a polling that I really think is neat, that I poll my teachers on, and then I can show my results. I also like the breakout rooms on Zoom. I do not know if GoToMeeting does that, and I have not seen that in Google Hangout yet.
I'd like to also add that in the resources, I included instructions for both teachers and students on how to download and use Zoom.
Okay, awesome. And then I have another question here of what curriculum do you use to support the internships? If you want to talk a little bit more elaborately about that.
The curriculum that we use is based on the New World of Work curriculum, and going through each one of the 21st century employability skills. And then for each skill, I've created lessons and journal rights and reflections for students to write about each one of those skills.
Okay. Shannon, did you have anything to add to that as well? I just want to make sure I get both of you.
No, that's Nancy's wheelhouse.
Okay, great. The last question that I have here is, what are some ideas for virtual internship partners in regards to the lunch and learns? When coming to the table, to the lunch and learn, you know, I guess, what do you anticipate for them to bring to the table?
All of the business partners were invited as special guests to the Lunch and Learn, but the Lunch and Learn was really about the students presenting their final projects. So future Lunch and Learns could focus on individual businesses and feature those partners as guest speakers. There's a lot of ways they could participate, but for the one that we had, they were guests.
Okay, great. And Shannon, did you have anything to add?
Also, the business partners that stayed on and kept the interns going, they did it virtually also. We have one group of students who go online and do some research for venues and send that information to the business. And then we have a senior helper person who was getting some certificates online and helping like behind the scenes for the senior helpers. So those businesses did provide items for the students to do online, which was showing how they adapted really quick to this also.
Awesome. Well, those are all of the questions that we got in the chat. Is there anything else that either of you two would like to add?
I would like to thank everybody for joining us today. We appreciate your time and your willingness to grow in this virtual world and supporting our students out there to be successful. Thank you.
And I would also like to encourage you just to give it a try with your students. It's a really fun way to interact with students and have students share experiences with their other students who they've never even met in a very comfortable environment. So thank you.
Well, thank you to both of you for joining us today. And we're actually going to conclude this session so that those of you that have other webinars that you're going to be joining on the virtual summit can get to those. Thank you so much for joining us today. And if your questions were not answered, we'll be sure to follow up with you and provide you with an answer. You'll also receive a certificate of participation in an email within 1 business day. As well as a survey. There will be one at the end of the session, and if you don't get a chance to answer it, you'll also get it in the email. If you would like more information from our presenters, feel free to reach out to hello@eDynamiclearning.com and we'll get you connected. Also, you're welcome to register for any additional sessions you may not have registered for yet by simply visiting tinyurl.com/EDL Summit. And thank you again, everybody.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.